I'm going to be going over the entire real estate wholesaling process so that you can start doing real estate wholesale deals right when this video ends. But before we start, my name is Stefanie Kebede. I'm a real estate agent and investor out in Harrisburg, PA. Make sure you guys go subscribe to stay along with my real estate investing journey. Click that bell button on so you guys never miss an upload. And with that being said, let's get right into it. To start off, to make this super simple so everyone can understand, I want to start by going over the full-on process from step one all the way to closing day. So to make this easy and for people that are visual learners just like myself, I put everything on a whiteboard. This is the steps, the full-on process. It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to make it super simple. But remember, real estate is a simple business. Real estate wholesaling is super simple. It's just not easy. You just have to put in that work for the results to come. But with that being said, let's get right into it here. Step one right here is the purchase and sell agreement you would have with the seller. And we're gonna go more in depth on how to get these types of houses, how to get these under contract with the sellers. I just want to go over the process so you guys know and understand it first. So let's say you and the seller agree on a price of $90,000. So you want to get that under contract. Make sure you send that seller that purchase and sell agreement, have them sign it, and that moment they sign, that's when you have equitable interest within the property. And that gives you the right to be able to market it out to cash buyers. Once you have this property under contract, that's when you're going to want to go to the title company and open escrow. Now you have to remember, to be able to open escrow, you need something that's called an EMD. That's an earnest money deposit. That just shows you have good faith within the property and that you're serious about making this offer and moving forward. I'm going to be honest, we like to do $100 EMD. If you're on the residential side of like agent stuff, realtor stuff, we typically say 1%, but the lower the better. I know in some transactions I had a seller say, no, you don't need to put an EMD in. We have to, so we just put $1 as the EMD. And that is acceptable. People can do that. But the lowest the EMD, the better. So make sure you have that earnest money deposit, and that will be shown on the purchase and sell agreement of what that is. Put $100, and then we'll open escrow and turn in our earnest money deposit check, our cashier's check. Once we went to the title company and open escrow, that's when we can go and start marketing to cash buyers. Because the goal is we want to be able to assign our contract to someone else to be able to get that wholesale fee. Different ways you can go about assigning it and finding cash buyers, which we'll go through. I just want to go over this process first. So we're going to assign it to the cash buyer for $100,000. So remember, we got it for $90,000 and we're going to assign it for $100,000. Once they agree on that cash buyer and you, that's when you're going to send them an assignment agreement, and it's going to state everything, what title company you guys are using, what price you have it under contract for, literally everything. So they're going to know how much you're going to be making on this deal. After you have that agreement signed, you're going to want to turn that to the title company, right? And then the title company, during this whole process, they're going to be doing a title search to make sure this property is free of any liens, any judgments, anything like that that is against the property. They want to make sure title is completely clear. If something does pop up, like a lien or a tax lien or anything like that, that's when they're going to come back to me, the buyer, they're going to come back to the seller and just explain that to us, like, we have to get this resolved or we can't close on the property. After everything is resolved and you do have a clear title, that's when we're going to schedule closing and you're going to have closing day. So that is the full-on process. It's a 5-step process. Like I said, it's super simple. It takes time and it's not as easy as most people think. But with that being said, let's go into more in depth of what you need to do to be able to get these houses under contract and what lead generation you will need to start doing to start getting leads in your pipeline today. So let's get started with lead generation. This is the most important thing, because if you're not generating leads, you don't have any business. You don't have a wholesaling business. The cheapest and easiest way to start generating leads in real estate wholesaling is just driving for dollars. That's literally when you get in your car, you drive around, look for properties that may seem in some sort of distress. They may have boarded up windows, high grass, their mailbox may be completely full and it looks like no one has been to that property in years, and you want to write down that address. When you get a list of like 50 to 100 addresses, you're going to want to go back home and go skip trace that list on directskip.com. When you go on directskip.com, they're going to give you 500 free skip tracing, so you don't even have to pay for it. After you skip trace that list, then you're going to want to call up the property owners. Call up each one. If you don't have a cold calling dialer, you can just hand dial. It's easy. It does take time, but it saves you money. So you're you're gonna want to call them up and ask the sellers and say, hey, Sam, this is Stephanie, how's it going? And they're gonna respond and everything like that. And you're gonna say, I was just curious if you ever thought about selling 123 Main Street out there. Some might say no, some might say, yeah, I have been thinking about it. And you just want to say, oh, okay. Did you have a price in mind? So the main things on this phone call you'll want to get is their price of what they're looking for. Then you'll want to get the condition of the property. Have they replaced the roof? Have they done any upgrades to the property? Have they had any leaks at all? How many beds? How many baths? Just every single thing about the condition of the property. And then you're going to want to get the timeline. How soon are they looking to sell? And then lastly, the motivation. So you can say, this looks like a great property. Why would you even want to sell it? Even though you know it's not the greatest property, but that's what you want to do, because you want to figure out the motivation on what's pushing them to sell, because then you'll figure out if it's a hot lead, a warm lead, or a cold lead. So after you get their motivation, price, timeline, and condition, that's when you can follow through, and then you're going to want to look up comps to the property. So you can do this on Zillow, you can do this on Propstream. Propstream is a real estate investing tool that is great for real estate investors. It's basically like the MLS for agents, but for real estate investors. And it gives you so much information. So if you guys are looking to utilize Propstream, I'll leave the link down below so you guys can get a little discount there. But you're gonna wanna look up comps. And what comps are is just comparables to that property. If this property you have is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot home, you're gonna wanna look for other properties that are also around 3-bed, 2-bath, and roughly around 1,000 square feet. And you're also gonna wanna depend upon, is this a duplex? Is this a single family home? Is this a multi-family home? And you cannot compare, let's say, a rancher home to a 2-story home, since those are completely opposites. So you wanna make sure you're comparing the similarities literally like as close as possible to be able to get the value of what this home is worth. And the thing is, when you are looking at these similarities for this property you're trying to research on, you're gonna wanna look at the after repair value. So you're gonna wanna look at properties that have already been completely redone. It looks like a flipper went in there, they redone the kitchen, they redone the bathrooms, and you wanna get that after repair value, because when you're sending it to cash buyers, they're going to wonder, what is this ARV? And that's what they're gonna say, ARV, after repair value. Once you go in, you already have the price that the seller wants. Let's say that's 100,000, but let's say you go in and you're like, wow, I mean, the ARV for this property is 200,000. Okay, that's fantastic. You have that wiggle room right there. The next thing is, investors typically want it at a 70% discount. 60 to 70, but as low as you can go, it's the greatest. So now that you have your ARV 200,000 and investors typically wanting it at a 70% discount, you're gonna take 200,000 times 0.70, and that will leave you with 140,000. Now, the next steps you're gonna wanna do is figure out how much will this property need to become restored? Like, how much would someone need to put into this property to be able to get to that ARV value? Like, what would the repair costs be? Typically, as a newbie, it's gonna be tough to kind of do a price range of everything like that, but I'll leave a little cheat sheet in the description so that you have that, and it's easier for you to go back to this and see, okay, let me base everything off of this and off of the square footage here. So once you figure out what the repair costs are, then you're gonna wanna minus that from the 140 number you had. So in this case, let's say the repair costs are $25,000. So 140 minus our $25,000 rehab cost, our repair cost, that leaves us with $115,000. That's not what we want to do yet. So we still have to take it another step further. We have to minus our wholesale fee. We want to make money from this deal, so we're gonna do 115 minus how much do we want to make? We're gonna say, let's make 10 grand on this. 10 easy grand, you know? Let's do 115 minus 10 grand. And that leaves us with $105,000. And that $105,000, that shows our MAO. And our MAO stands for our maximum allowable offer. This is the number that we can't go over when we are negotiating with the seller to get this property under contract. Let's say the seller wanted 100,000 for this property. We know our MAO is 105. We can't go over 105, but if we lock this up right now for 100,000, we're honestly gonna make $15,000 instead of 10. There's always people that want to negotiate. There's always room for negotiation. So if you come in at 100,000, you just never know. you may be able to get an even better, juicier deal. So I wouldn't come in at 100,000, even though I know if I did right now, I would make a deal. I would actually come in probably around 90, 95. The seller may say, I mean, the best I could do is 98. And you're saying, okay, you know, let me talk it over with my partner, see what we can do. And then you come back, you hop on the phone with the seller and say, all right, yeah, let's do 98. We can do that. I'll turn in my earnest money deposit of $100 to the title company. Let's just get this signed here and let's move forward. So the seller signs at 98. That's amazing, right? Now that they signed at $98,000, you turned everything into the title company. That is when you can go market it out to cash buyers, just like the process we were talking about. And if you guys need to rewatch that part, definitely go back and rewatch it a couple of times just so you can really know the process of what you need to do. Now that you're able to market it to cash buyers, you guys are probably wondering, what ways can I market it to cash buyers? Like, how can I find these cash buyers? There are many different ways you can find cash buyers. Number one is what I recommend, and that is going to real estate investing meetups. And you may be wondering, where are these real estate investing meetups? Where can I go to find these? You'll want to go to meetup.com, and you can type in real estate investing within your local area and then start going to literally every single one. And you guys don't want to go there and just sit in the back and listen to the speaker speak and everything like that. You want to go there and start talking to people. You want to network. You want to figure out what investors are looking to buy. Figure out what their criteria is, because you're going to want to add them to your cash buyers list. They're going to be your cash buyers whenever you have these wholesale deals available. So that's a number one. That's like the greatest way, because you're building relationships and you know these people are actually legit. Another way you can do is by posting your deals on Facebook Marketplace. What's great and all, but sometimes these sellers have Facebook as well, and you don't want them to always see like, why does this person have my property up on Facebook Marketplace? So you want to be careful with that. It all depends on the type of deal. If you're not able to find a cash buyer the first method, you can always try that method, as well as putting the property on Craigslist. When you are putting these properties out on these social media platforms, you're going to want to make sure you put in the description that you're assigning your rights to this purchase agreement. You can also say, I have equitable interest in this agreement, so people know that it's a wholesale deal. You want real estate investors to know that you're getting a small fee, and you want them to be okay with that, because some investors out there, you have to be careful. They don't want to see wholesalers make money, and sometimes if they see you making like a $40,000 deal, they may not like stop the whole deal because they're just not okay with that. So you want to make sure you vet these cash buyers out to make sure they're okay with whatever wholesale fee you're able to get throughout any deal you do. So those are great ways to be able to find cash buyers. Call them up, see if they're interested in a property, and then move forward to the next process of assigning the contract to the cash buyer. Remember guys, we got this property under contract for $98,000, and now we're gonna market it to the cash buyers too. We want to make $10,000 like I said, so 98 plus 10,000, we're looking at $108,000 right there. Remember, room for negotiation. Everyone wants to negotiate in real estate, so don't push it out for $108,000. You're gonna want to push it out for even more. Let's say this is a good deal at $120,000, so you want to push it out for 120. That leaves like that spread there, so you may make a little over 10K, you may make 10K. It all depends on what you and that end buyer agrees on. Once you and that end buyer agrees on, let's say the number is 108,000, right? So you guys went from 120 to 108, and they saw the property, everything went great. They're like, I want it. Here's my earnest money deposit, because you guys, after you have them signed, you want to make sure they have their earnest money deposit that is non-refundable, because that's going to take over yours right there. Typically, you don't want them to put down $100 earnest money deposit. You want them to put as high as possible. So like $2,000 or $5,000. Those are great earnest money deposits for that cash buyer to put down. So we know they're super serious about closing on this property here. Once they have their earnest money deposit, you sign the contract with that cash buyer, the assignment agreement. That's when you guys take that to the title company. He'll turn his earnest money to the title company. We're saying the title company finishes up that title search to make sure everything's clean, and that's when you guys can schedule closing. So everything's all in place. You'll just want to call up the seller, see when a good time for them is to close, call up the buyer, see when a good time for them is to close, time and day, and then you guys literally go to closing, sign the documents, and that is it. That is the wholesaling process. If you guys want me to make a video about different ways you can generate leads within real estate wholesaling, I can definitely do so. We just talked about driving for dollars as one, since that is the cheapest and the best way, honestly, to get real estate deals. People people are getting so many deals just for driving for dollars, right? So if you guys want me to make a full-on depth of different lead generation strategies you can do within real estate wholesaling, just comment that down below. And if this video helped you in any way, let me know. Guys, I'm trying to do more educational content for people that really want to learn this stuff and wants to take action. With that being said, go subscribe if you're not subscribed. Turn that bell button on so you guys never miss an upload. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.